All right, today we are diving into something from OpenAI that could genuinely, fundamentally change how we use the internet. We're talking about a web browser with Chat GPT built right into its core. It's called Chat GPT Atlas, and trust me, this is a pretty big deal. So think about your browser right now. If it's anything like mine, it's just pure chaos, right? A million tabs open, you're juggling windows, copying something from one page, pasting it into another, and completely losing your train of thought along the way. Now, imagine a browser that just cuts through all that noise. What if it actually understood what you were trying to accomplish and helped you do it? Well, that's the core idea behind ChatGPT Atlas. So here it is, ChatGPT Atlas. And let's be really clear about this. This is not just another browser with some AI chatbot tacked on as a feature. OpenAI is positioning this as a total rethink of what a browser should be. They're trying to turn it from a passive tool into a truly intelligent partner. And this really gets to the heart of it. What if your browser stopped being just a simple window to look at websites? What if it became an active assistant that gets what you're trying to do and actually helps you get it done? Okay, so how in the world does Atlas pull this off? Well, the first big piece of the puzzle is what they're calling a smarter way to browse. And this is all about one word, context. It's about giving the browser the ability to understand what you're looking at right now and, just as importantly, what you've looked at in the past. And here's a perfect real-world example of this in action. An early tester, a college student named Yogya Kalra, was using it to study. Instead of constantly flipping between her lecture slides and a separate ChatGPT window, Atlas just knew what was on her screen. That whole tedious copy and paste dance we all do, it just disappears. So the magic behind this is a feature called browser memories. Basically, it lets Atlas remember important details from the sites you visit. It's like it's building a private little map of your activity, just for you. And this memory is what makes every conversation you have with it so much smarter and more relevant. So what does this actually let you do? What kind of new superpowers does this give you? Because, this was way more than just a fancy browsing history. And this is where it gets incredibly powerful. Look at this prompt. You can ask Atlas to pull together information from a bunch of different sites you've looked at over the past week, and then create something totally new from it, like a customized prep sheet for a job interview. That is a massive leap forward. Of course, the second you hear browser memory, I know what you're thinking: privacy. And OpenAI has been really upfront about this. They're putting you in complete control. You can see your memories, you can delete them, you can even tell Atlas to stop remembering things from certain websites. The key thing here is that it's all optional. You manage it. Okay, so if browser memories are all about understanding, this next big feature is all about doing. This is where Atlas goes from being a smart assistant to being an active agent that can actually get things done for you. And I mean, really think about that for a second. This is a huge shift in how we think about browsers. We're moving from a world where we ask for information to a world where we can delegate entire tasks. You just tell your browser the final goal, and it figures out all the steps to get there. Let's make this concrete with a super cool example. Imagine you give Atlas a recipe for dinner. It doesn't just show you the ingredients. No, it goes and finds an online grocery store, adds every single thing you need to the cart, and then places the order for you. It handles a complex, multi-step job from start to finish. Wow. And this isn't just for chores at home. Think about work. You could tell it to research 10 competitors and then write up a summary of what it found. It could automate boring data entry, help you plan a team outing, or even book your meetings, all inside the browser. Now, with this much power, you absolutely need guardrails, right? Safety is a huge deal. So OpenAI has built in some really important ones. For example, the agent can't just run code or download files on its own. And if it's on a sensitive website, like your bank's website, it'll actually pause and ask for your permission before it does anything. It is super important to remember, though, this is an early preview. OpenAI is very clear that the agent can and will make mistakes. It could even be tricked by a malicious website. So you definitely want to be mindful of those risks, maybe by using it while you're logged out of really important accounts. So let's zoom out. What's the bigger picture here? Well, according to OpenAI, this isn't just about a new browser. It's the beginning of a whole new era of what they call agentic systems. And what that really means is a future where we can just hand off all the boring, repetitive digital tasks to our AI agents. The whole point is to free up our time and our brain power so we can focus on the stuff that really matters. The creative work, the big ideas. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi future. Atlas is slated to launch for Mac OS in October 2025, and then versions for Windows, iOS, and Android are set to follow. So yeah, this is right around the corner. This whole thing represents a massive change in how we relate to the internet. We're shifting from being the person clicking every button to being the director of an AI agent that does the clicking for us. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What will you build? What will you create? What will you learn when your browser finally does the browsing for you?